whose parents don't share your same values. Like this young man, maybe he handed you that letter. Obviously, to him, nothing was wrong with it, or he wouldn't have given that to you, or whatever. I don't know. Okay, whatever you want to address that. How do you build a relationship between your kid and when they're interacting with other kids who maybe come from a different set of values?
They need to be coached. This is the world, my children,
you're coaching.
This is the world we live in.
Okay.
This is what's going to happen in the world we live in. I've been around the block a few times, much more than their mother, who actually lived a Christian life when she's grown up. Not so much. So, I know how the thing works, particularly on sex. So I can coach them. This is what's going to happen. People are going to approach you. These are the dynamics. Some of these things this is so radical, I don't think this is going to work without homeschooling. We chose our schooling method based on the age 18 list. In other words, that is why we homeschool. If we didn't homeschool, then I'd look at this list and I would know that I have to go in and really double the coaching. I mean, really teach them. This is what's going to happen at school. This is what's going to happen sexually. This is what's going to happen with money. This is what's going to happen spiritually. And really coach them within their contexts of what needs to happen as a holy person in a very unholy world. And they need to know that. They need to know that whether we ever want to talk about it or not, we have a problem in this country with oral sex in closets in public schools. They need to know it. And they're going to say it's not sex, it is sex, it's wrong, we're not doing it. And you're going to need to know there are people who are doing it, you need to flee from that situation. Now, what a horrible thing to have to tell a third grader. But guess what? That's when that's happening. That's why we homeschool. I don't want to have that conversation with my kid. But if they're getting sent to public school, we got to have that conversation because it's happening then. We have conversations about sexuality. For instance, by age 8, and homeschool, age 8 is very early in the game for sex talk. Public school, it's not early at all. You better talk about these things. And I tell them exactly what happens in the bedroom, exactly what happens in bed with mom and dad, exactly what happens. I would go ahead and tell you, but it would blow your mind. You just can't believe. In fact, first time I ever did it, mouths were wide open, eyes were wide, and it wasn't his eyes or his mouth, it was mine. I couldn't believe I was saying this stuff. I got it from a book, though, called Point Man. You want to check it out? Check out the sex talk. Steve Farrar, F-A-R-R-A-R, Point Man. He's got it in there. It's uncomfortable. You'll read it and you'll wince. But you better read it, wince, and give it. Because if you don't, someone will. And they may not give the talk so much as they'll just do it. And if your kid is not armed with the facts, with the knowledge, and with a good talking, with a parent, who knows what's going to happen in that moment? I'm just saying. Okay, we're homeschooled though. They're never around these kids. I'm thinking they're never around them. I know the youth group. I know what we're to deal with. So I know. And so age 8, when I tell them that, they're all stunned. Hannah said, I'm never having a baby. But that's good. That's good enough for now. Well, that's good. Let's not ever have babies, baby. That's good enough for now. We got the feeling you'll change your mind on that. But once she knew all that happened. Interesting, some of the questions that come out of this thing, though. I'm having this talk with one of my children, and I think it was Zeke, and Zeke looked up and says, Daddy, talk to me about Down's children. He wanted to know sexually, how did Down's children happen? And then, why are so many of them aborted? I thought I was having a sex talk, and all of a sudden now we're having a pro-life Down's children talk. This is a precious, precious, precious. I'm thinking, the spiritual sensitivity in that question just blew me away. Listen, at our seminary, I actually gave the sex talk to my class. I got called on the carpet by my dean when it happened. How dare you? I'm thinking, What world are you living in? Are you? How dare I? How dare we not? I'd do it for you, except we'd all get in trouble probably. Mark Bird would be flayed alive. I'll never bring someone like that in this. I'm going to tell you, friends. Do you not think that in a public school they're already talking to your kid like that? I'm insensitive enough to use biological, physiological terms. They're not doing that. I don't know what they call a penis, but I know what I call it. Penis. Do you think that's the talk they're having when they're age 6? You know who had my first talk? Billy. Billy L. Billy L. had the first sex talk with Matt Freedom. It was the only sex talk I ever got. The only one I ever got was from Billy. He taught me everything I know about sex today. How pitiful is that? Billy gave me everything I know about sex. What do you think I know? Well, I know a few things. I've had 6 kids, but I mean, I don't know much. Not from what Billy told me anyway. I finally got a book and read about it, which isn't a bad idea. By the way, it's never a bad idea in your counseling marriage to actually give them something to read about 2 days before they actually consummate the marriage. Here, read this. It tells you exactly what to do. And I hope you need to read it, right? Here it is. Here it is. And I got to tell you, when I got handed that book, I thought, hallelujah, because I don't know anything. Now, I got the funny feeling if they throw you and your bride or you and your groom into a room, you'll figure things out. But you know something? I want to know about the preciousness of it. I don't know if you ever saw a movie called Yentl. Many things I know about Judaism I know from a couple movies. Fiddle on the Roof and Yentl. Yentl. Before Yentl, and of course you know the movie, Yentl's actually a girl. Yentl, the boy Yentl, who's actually a girl, the boy Yentl's just married a beautiful, beautiful girl. And they're about ready to send them into the room. And so the guy that really loves the girl, but is Yentl's friend, is now counseling Yentl on how to treat a woman at consummation. He's saying the wildest things, but he's saying it right out of the holy books. Right out, not out of Torah, but out of the Talmud. And he's sharing, this is what we're going to do. This is what you need to do. This is how you need to treat her. This is how you need to touch her. This is the most important night of your life. This is what I'm thinking. And you know what they did? They considered it holy when they were taught those things. Ooh, yuck. Or, oh, that's not appropriate. We're holy. No, this is holy. This is what holy stuff is. You think sex isn't holy? Oh my. Why do you think yada is used the first time? As Adam, yada, Eve. It's beautiful. But it's for marriage only. So we teach this to our kids. I don't want them to know all that they need to know from dad about sex until that night when they'll learn substantially from another. Praise be to God.